One of the most important things to do, both in practice as well as in teaching, is to encourage and to build really, really good habits right from the start, which will then enable us to progress swiftly. And that's why today I would like to talk to you about what I call my pre-flight checks for the right hand. Now, if you have ever flown on an airplane, you will have noticed that usually the pilots are there, you know, for a good half an hour or so before the passengers come on board. And why is that? Because, of course, before every single flight, they run through the same checklists to make sure that everything is in perfect working order. Why? Because on an airplane, obviously, if something goes wrong, the results tend to be quite dramatic. So, whilst maybe for us, if we make a mistake, the result won't be quite as catastrophic, but nonetheless, I think this is a really good concept to adopt, and that's what I want to introduce you to today. So, this is something which I practice for myself and work on with my students really right from the word go. Because it also later on hugely helps in performance as well. So, what are our essential pre-flight checks? For me, that starts always with checking that we sit really well and really comfortably. Now, by that I mean that we can really feel the weight in our feet and on our sit bones. We should be really well balanced on our sit bones at all times, and so that we can move about really, really easily without any tension anywhere. So next we check our bow hold, that we've picked up our bow really well. We've got a nice round thumb and a really nice flexible bow hold. So we place that onto the string, and now we start checking our shoulder. Is our shoulder raised? Is it tense in any way? Let's release it. So the check hasn't been completed until the shoulder is fully released. Next we move on to the elbow. Is the elbow nice and soft? Does the arm feel nice and heavy? Or are we holding any excess tension? If so, talk to your elbow. Let it release. Sort of one image I find really helpful is to think of letting it melt. Yeah, so make sure your shoulder's released, your elbow has melted nicely. So then we want to make sure that our bow is well balanced on the string, and our hand should be really looking very much straight ahead. So what we don't want is anything like that. If that's the case, you need to restore your bow hold. We don't want that either, we just want neutral. Yeah, and lastly, we check that we're not holding our bow too tightly. So we're not gripping. Try to release about 20-30%, and you will find that you're still perfectly stable, but everything is now nice and supple. And once we've completed all of those checks, we are then ready for takeoff. And you should hopefully get a lovely, clean, beautiful ringing sound. Try this out in your practice, and I hope you will find that as helpful as I do, and really try for a while to go through this procedure every single time when you start playing, whether you're practicing an exercise, open strings, a scale, a piece, never mind what it is. Really go through that set of checks every single time before you start, and I promise you that in no time you will notice some real improvements in your right hand. I hope you liked this video. If you do, please smash that like button, subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.